A pleasant morning to everyone tuning in from the UK and Ireland, or a very good evening to everyone currently in Malaysia. My name is Chian, the head of strategies for this year's corporate luncheon and career fair, an executive counselor in the UK eCareers office, and I will be moderating this Go webinar session today. The topic for today's Go webinar panel session is the evolving workplace beyond the pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, 3 or 4 years ago, before COVID was a thing, I'm pretty sure a lot of us thought that pandemic is a thing of past. 2 years or more into the pandemic, we have moved from the phase where strict lockdowns and social restrictions are enforced to when all the rules has now been gradually removed, starting right now even back in Malaysia, we expect to see our borders reopen fully from April the 1st and allow entry without quarantine for visitors vaccinated against COVID-19. Further relaxation of local COVID-19 restriction rule is also being expected to be carried out. I'm sure that many will agree with me that almost everything has changed in the past 2 years. Nevertheless, today's workplace has become very different from what many of us might have been preparing for in the past. The industry leaders have worked so hard to ensure that business run as usual, while everyone on board is so that everyone on board is doing well, productive, and safe. We have been hearing a lot about flexible workplace, work from home, and new innovative workplace concepts around us. But what is the current state of evolving workplace in companies back in Malaysia? To solve all the questions we have in our minds, we are proud to have an esteemed lineup of panelists today with us to clear our doubts. Let's welcome Ms. Lee Su-Fen, Partner and Malaysia Talent Leader from Ernst & Young Consulting Sdn Bhd. Welcome, Ms. Lee. We also have on our floor today Ms. Monzi from KPMG. Welcome, Ms. Monzi. We also have Ms. Koo Pek Jin, Head of Talent Management and OD from UOB. Welcome, Ms. Koo. Let's give a round of virtual applause to all our esteemed panelists today. To kickstart today's panel discussion, perhaps we can start addressing an issue that I'm sure many people are eager to know and understand more about. Is a hybrid work style becoming a preference or norm in companies? So perhaps we can have all the panelists address this question. Can we do it alphabetically? So can Ms. Lee from Ernst & Young Consulting Sdn Bhd address this question first before Ms. Monzi and then Ms. Koo from UOB.
Okay, thank you, Chian. Good morning, good evening, everybody in the room. It is really good to be here with everybody, notwithstanding that, this is Saturday evening in KL, and we are about to spend time with our family for dinner. But it is our honor. Thank you to UKEC and Graduan for the invitation to be here. And I, together with my panelists, we are actually touching on a topic which is probably very close to not just the employer's hearts, but also to the employees as well, or would-be employees. So I will speak from the angle of EY. Since the pandemic started, that was in March 2020. I think we all remember that date very, very clearly. And I particularly remember 17 March, Chian. We were only given 24 hours almost to sort ourselves out, take care of our clients, our people, our office, and everybody jovially went on to what we thought was a very short period of lockdown. So, I think a couple of months later, we all realized that this is going to be for the long haul or longer haul, but none of us, right, Jean and Monzi, none of us thought that it would be a 2-year thing. So the good thing, if we fast forward to today for EY, in the last 2 years, we are very grateful and thankful for the investments that we have made in technology, the bytes, right? The technology where we are able to continue to serve clients continuously. So the client service has not stopped, and things have not dropped. Of course, there are some negative impact all of this, but if we talk about lives and livelihood, things are pretty much under control, so to speak. So what's going to happen? And our people are so used to working from home these days, and even the brief periods of, where we are able to come back a little bit more before we are asked, Omicron is coming our way, let's go back to where we were before. Hybrid work has become a norm in the EY ecosystem, so to speak. And I think everybody got the hang of it. I will speak a little bit more about the not so good outcome because of this constant lockdown and all. But by and large, short answer is yes. For EY, it is here to stay. In fact, I have just made an announcement to the office that even with 1 April coming our way, we will not change the way we work. We will continue to have our people working the way we've been working, but we will make some adjustments for the you take cognizant of what's happening around us as well, to keep track with the businesses reopening, borders reopening and such. So the old ways are gone. We're not going back to the old way, Chian. Yeah. We'll talk a little bit more later, but give some time to the rest to share their views. Yeah.
Thank you, Susan. So may Miss Mon, do you want to take on?
Sure, sure. Thank you so much, Jian. And again, thanks to Graduan for inviting me on this esteemed panel. And it's always good to be on the same panel with Susan. I also learn a thing or two from her all the time, and good to meet a new colleague from UOB. So I think where we come from in KPMG is that we look at, what is it that we're doing right now? Work is what we do. It's not exactly where we do it. I mean, you don't have to be somewhere, to get that work done, right? You can actually achieve the same kind of outcome wherever you are, be it from home, the Starbucks down the road, or in some coffee shop somewhere, right? So we need to define firstly, what is it that we do, and the roles that we play. For example, in our team, all the business support departments like HR, risk management, learning and development, we are all empowered to decide where and when we have to get the work done. Because at the end of the day, it's about the outcome, right? What is the KPI or that goal, or that you have agreed between you and your boss? And it really doesn't matter where we do it, right? The other point about hybrid work style, becoming the norm or preference is that majority of our staff demographics, right, are actually millennials, right? Gen Z, Gen Y, more than 80% of them are millennials. They are digital natives, right? They are so used to technology, and for them, working from anywhere is normal. So for us, we feel that hybrid is here to stay. We do give our people that form of flexibility depending on what they need to do. But like what Sufan said, there are negatives to hybrid as well. I mean, especially, human beings being such social animals, right? We crave engagement. We want to have that face-to-face discussions or meetings and all that. And with hybrid, too much of remote working will also take away that part, right? And it's difficult to, to build camaraderie, to build teamwork if you are continuously working from home, right? So there's got to be that fine balance, and there is no one size fits all. So you really got to look at the industry you're in, the type of work that you do, and I think that would very much determine whether hybrid is here to stay in some companies or not. Thanks, Jian.
Thank you, Monty. So right now, can you direct this question to Jin? Try to address it.
All right, thanks, Jian. Maybe I should just answer a very short answer, which is all of the above. I echo everything that Sufan and Monsi has said. I think in the banking industry, it is challenging when we first went into lockdown, because we have quite a lot of work that requires face-to-face human interaction, your over-the-counter services. But I think 2 years down the road, right, we have learned that the pandemic has actually helped us to accelerate a lot of things that we have always wanted to do anyway, to move people to digital banking, to self-service. So I think that has had a positive impact in banking. But nevertheless, we still have a lot of staff who are required to work in the office. They may not have the option to do hybrid work. But for 60 to 70% of the bank where we are able to do so, hybrid work is actually the way to go for us. And I believe every organization has been striving to provide more flexi hours to the staff because of the changing demographics. And I mean, it's not just the Gen Ys who appreciate having more work-life balance and integration, right? So people like me will want to take care of my kids, we want to take care of our parents, we want to take care of ourselves, and that requires a lot of time for us, you know. So we've always wanted to do that, but I think every organization has been taking baby steps in the past. But when the pandemic hit, it's like you have to do or die, you know. So it became a necessity rather than a nice to have. So I think that is something that has happened, and we plan to keep it that way. In fact, once the endemic situation kicks in on 1st April, UOB Malaysia, UOB Group, in fact, will be practicing flexi work hours. We will have 3 days working in the office with the option of 2 days work from home permanently, forever. So that's a good plus for us. Yeah, so I think hybrid working is definitely the way to go.
Thank you to all of our panelists for your precious insights. So I guess we have a consensus here among our panelists that hybrid, or let's say virtual working, is already a norm in Malaysia's working environment. And I think there's a few interesting points that each of our panelists have brought up. I think Sufan brought up that, of course, hybrid will still stay in EY, and there'll still just be some minor adjustments so that it can suit the circumstances better. When Monzi brought up that although hybrid might be good, but there are the other side of it where there will be less teamwork and less engagement among the team. And Jin also brought up that virtual is good, especially in the sense that it provides more time for the workers to actually decide what they want to do and have more time to spend with their family. So I guess now we can move on to our next question on because whether we are moving back to offices or even having a hybrid workplace, there will still be a lot of social restrictions to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in the workplace. So I'm sure many of our audience will be interested in knowing more about the initiatives to forge the bonds among employees when gatherings and physical meetups are limited. Maybe gift box or surprise gifts delivered to employees' houses during festive season. For this question, I'll kindly like to direct it to Ms. Stufan, and probably Monzi would like to answer this as well.
Okay, Tian. Yes, I think during the, we've learned lots of things actually. The journey has not been an easy one, but it's an essential one because there was no other way, right? It's either you do it or the work won't get done and the clients won't get served. EY, just like KPMG, and I think to a certain extent UOB as well, we are all in the time-serving industry. We're not here if not because of our clients and our customers. So we must be very mindful that the stakeholders are not just our people, our own colleagues, ourselves, but also our clients, very importantly. And of course, there's a group of stakeholders who emerged very strongly during the lockdown, which is our family members. Our family members. I think that is probably one revelation and lesson learned for many of us, that when we thought about stakeholders in the past, right, we always thought about it in the more of an organizational or business environment context. But pandemic told us that, you know, there is the family side of things as well. Yes, so your question was, how did we, you know, continue to engage our people when we are too fearful or we don't think that it is really good from a collective health and safety perspective to come together? I think the last 2 years, there were periods where we can come together, and those periods we did. And of course, the social distancing and all the SOPs, the mask wearing and all that, they need to be strictly adhered to. As a global firm EY, we are very ultra conservative when it comes to that. It was 2 meters for us. Even when Malaysia, even until now, is 1 meter, right? For EY, our physical distancing is a 2-meter rule. And because of the 2-meter restrictions, that really cuts down a lot of the flexibility in terms of seats availability in the office. So we have to really organize things around when it's in office, whether it's learning, coaching, counseling, sharing, or workshops and such. It is all subject to small groups and where seats can be taken in a safe manner. Physical distancing can be observed. When that cannot be done, of course, we will continue to do the other option, which is to use technology and have your virtual team lunch, virtual team coffee, all those things. I say we've done too much of that. In my view, is too much. We really need to think about how to move on to normalize or a bit more normalcy in what we like as human beings. So yes, gift boxes, we've done that. We've done, I guess, vouchers. I think everybody in the room here probably will know that the Grab vouchers, the Lazada vouchers and whatnot, Shopee vouchers are so norm. But in my view, they are good under the circumstances, but maybe sometimes lacking a little bit of the human touch. Because, what we want sometimes is not just about the voucher and the money, but also the interaction. But we had, to do the second best then. In fact, EY even organized an entire annual dinner virtually in December. And Ileana, my colleague in the call here, was in fact the MC. If you go to LinkedIn or our social media page, you will see that I was very surprised that we were able to do that using technology to engage our people countrywide in a full-fledged 3 hours, I think, the annual dinner was, in a digital manner. So yes, we've done all those things. What I am hoping for with 1 April coming around the corner is to maybe strike a balance between the two, where we can do it safely. We should do it outdoor, face-to-face a little bit more in a meaningful manner. We're talking about moments that matter. When we cannot do it safely, we should continue to use digital to fulfill our objectives. Yes. Monzi, you want to add?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thanks. And
you
you have also listed down, all the things that we have done. Also, I think it's quite common. The vouchers, the virtual engagements. We have coffee sessions as well. We have town halls, management group conference. Everything was done online or virtually. But I think going forward, as we transition to the endemic phase from 1st April onwards, I hope it's not a joke from the government, 1st April. We are actually slowly, progressively repivoting some of our engagement initiatives back to the in-person method. So obviously in the past 2 years, lockdowns and all that and limitations to small groups, we acknowledge it is very, very difficult to continue having that meaningful engagements with our staff. But, our people are our most valuable talent. So we were determined to do it one way or another. So what we did last year, we had many initiatives like KPMG Wellbeing 360 program. It leverages on 4 pillars: community, playground, marketplace, gym. So everything to do with fun and games, building the community, fostering a culture of work hard, play hard, games and contests to help introduce and instill our purpose, our values, and even our impact plan, which is related to ESG. We also had, comedies like Douglas Lim perform a stand-up comedy for us, which was quite fun. And then we have numerous, inclusion and diversity initiatives from things like KPMG, Toastmasters, to help our people improve English and to build confidence in presenting. We have our own lean-in circle, for our female colleagues to come together and empower each other in a pursuit to build rewarding careers as well as achieve professional and personal goals. And recently, we even have a new group of initiative, which is our motorbikers, right? Those who knows how to ride motorbikes, they will get together every month and just when the borders were interstate borders were open, they could go out and engage with each other from various departments and functions across the firm. So a lot has been done. to try and continue forging this bond amongst our employees, be it physical or virtual. And I hope that it has helped our people feel closer to one another, and also given them the chance to engage with our senior partners, through our coffee sessions. And actually, one of the good things about virtual is that we were able to also include our branches colleagues, who historically it would have been a bit more challenging for them to come over to PJ, but virtual actually helped bridge that gap. And I think we will continue to do some things in person and some things virtually. Back to you, Jian.
Thank you both, Supan and Monty, for the valuable insight on how both companies are actually doing initiatives and helping the employees in overcoming the physical restriction that we are having right now. I think moving on to the next question. As the global working environment shifts due to the changing circumstances that we have caused by COVID-19, I'm sure that our audience would like to know more about what skills and abilities are expected from graduates or potential candidates to impress employers and HR teams. So I would like to kindly direct this question to Ms. Jean. Ms. Jean, your floor is first.
Well, I think by and large, the UOB as an organization, we really practice diversity and inclusion. So when we talk about the skill sets that you need, definitely whatever you are studying now, whatever degree you're studying now, it's something that will definitely put you in good state at the entry level to the bank. But beyond the skills that you're learning currently in school, I think for people who can invest a little bit of time in data analytics, data science, I think that will put you in good state. We have many graduates who are not actually studying mathematics or engineering, but they do invest time on their own accord to pick up skills in data analytics. And that really is a leg up, if you like, when you come for an interview and people ask you what skills do you have, and you're able to say, yeah, I'm familiar with some of these platforms for data analysis. So it really helps you to get ahead of the others. But that is just the first step. Beyond that, I think right now, having good communication skills has become really, really critical. If you have heard from our two other panelists, communication is so important because you want to reach out, you want to engage with people. How do you do that effectively? It has really changed and has become a real challenge for people managers, actually. Beyond having fun, sending you gifts, right? After a while, right, that kind of wears out, isn't it? How many Shopee, okay, we can live with a lot of Shopee vouchers, but after a while, the excitement of that kind of dies down. And then you crave that social interaction, right? You crave for someone to care for you, to reach out to you and talk to you. And your bosses will also want to reach out to you if you are a young graduate, right? You join the organization. And if you're unable to express yourself, your concerns, your needs, if you're unable to ask for help, then that puts you at a disadvantage too. So we're looking for people who can communicate well, who can empathize with others. So this element of the softer side of things have become very, very important. As a bank, we are constantly challenged to be more digital, so we're also looking for people who are more agile and are more resilient, because changes come very, very quickly and very, very suddenly. In UOB, for example, overnight, over a couple of months, we suddenly hear that, oh, we've acquired Citibank Consumer Banking, right? Then everybody will be running helter-skelter to change some of the strategies that we've put in place. You may have planned something fabulous for the year, and then now suddenly you have to kind of put that aside for a while and do this people integration piece. So being agile and being able to be flexible all the time, it's important. And I think for fresh grads, I look for people who are curious. If you're curious, you have a growth mindset, you want to find out more, you ask the question, why? Why are we doing this? Why can't we do it another way? I think we look for graduates who are able to do that. So I think those are the essential skills to have. And not feel that I've graduated, so I know it all. In fact, you've graduated means this is the beginning of learning all over again.
Yeah. May I add, Chian? May I add? This is a question that is very close to my heart about what is it that the young people or not so young people need in this transformative age of VUCA world, Chian. I keep nodding my head because, the topic of agility and curiosity that Beijing brought up, right? I think those we cannot run away. Those are real. I spoke about a VUCA world, and in the world where all the businesses are transforming themselves, hoping that they can be quicker than ever because of the digital pace is so fast, right? That bit about being curious, you can't run away. You have to be agile because learning and unlearning and having to solve complex problems that you don't have solutions for, you don't have inkling of where to start. I think that is becoming very normal. And I think for EY, when we talk about new hires or people who want to knock on the door and start a career, whether with EY, with KPMG, or with UOB, I think knowing your own purpose, being purposeful is important. Because when you're purposeful, particularly if your purpose is very aligned to the organizational purpose, it makes coming to work, getting out of bed a lot easier. And because you're purposeful, no one needs to drive you. You are self-driven to do what you need to do to succeed in your own career, right? Of course, the organization needs to give you the help from learning to coaching to the technical start of thing. But this thing about, I need to do what I need to do in order for me to succeed in what I want to succeed in, that has to come from your own, having your own purpose. And I think in the new world, learning from COVID, well-being is a leadership competency. Knowing how to look after yourself before you can look after your team and others has become increasingly important. And I say that not because it is a good thing to say, it is a real thing that we value in our people. Because if you can't look after yourself, how can your team depend on you to look after their well-being, right? So knowing how to cut off, knowing when to call time, and knowing when to plan leave and go on leave and don't pick up the phone and talk about work, it's a real thing. Because don't think that you're the hero, okay? I will do work when I'm on leave, laptop on the beach and all that, right? That is just plain not acceptable, either as the person asking you or the person doing the work. And I think that for all the people, young people in the room, you're going to become a leader one day. Please make sure that you look after yourself as you look after your team, having a clean cut off. And inclusive mindset is key. We're not able to work in a hybrid world if we don't have that commitment to build an inclusive culture, because otherwise you cannot uphold the flexibility that we've been talking about, knowing that we all have our personal needs side beyond the professional needs and aspirations. Yeah. Thanks, Jian. Yeah.
Yeah, I like to also echo both ladies. I mean, the growth mindset is definitely a key characteristic that all, not only the young ones, right? Even people at my age, we've got to be continuously learning, unlearning, and relearning all the time. And these 2 years of the pandemic, there was no playbook to go by. We had to just go and figure things out. And just get things done so that business could continue. So that growth mindset, which Jin mentioned, the learning, relearning, unlearning is something that you must hold true to your heart. The other point is also about resilience, right? I mean, yeah, Sufan mentioned about taking care of yourself, well-being, and all that. But I think these days, we tend to give up quite easily. I mean, that's what I hope I'm not generalizing, but I think some of the younger generation, either they were not too well informed about the job that they were going into or the career that they were going into. But we have people who leaves within a month or less, and it's somehow they give up too easily. I mean, in life there will always be challenges, right? But it's how you drive yourself and pick up yourself once you've fallen down, get up and keep going. Yeah, it's like hiking, it's like cycling. If you fall down, you trip, get up and pick yourself up and just continue on and trot on, right? So have that kind of resiliency. I think that will carry you very, very far. Okay.
Just to add on to Monsi's point, right? I think we meet a lot of young people who give up very easily without even attempting to ask for help. So when you start work, right, don't be afraid to ask your seniors for help. Sometimes the seniors are very busy with their own business as usual. They may not realize that you have fallen even. You know, we are driving around in our car. We don't realize the bicycle you have fallen off the bike. So, you know, stand up, wave, get help. And I think leaders are more than happy to stop and help you and pick you up and maybe give you some sense of direction. And if in the end we realize that, look, our passions are not aligned, our visions in life, our goals in life are not the same, then okay, then you go. But don't give up so quickly. At least try and reach out for help first. And don't be afraid to ask for help, because it's not a sign of weakness. Asking for help is a sign of strength. It takes a great deal of humility and courage to ask for help.
Yep, absolutely. I definitely echo that, Jane, because I also don't know the answer to everything, right? And sometimes
Right.
I also have to ask for help.
And
And
in my case, I always ask my younger team members because they've got such great ideas that it never even crossed my mind.
yeah, correct. And also, I think the environment that, you know, our firm tries to inculcate is that it's okay if you fail. It's all right. You know, we don't mind. I mean, unless it's a really really big mistake. But if in an environment where, you know, you can experiment and fail and then get up again and start, you know, doing whatever you need to do, I think that is also helpful, yeah, for the youngsters. And our leaders, our people are also very nice people, right? They are leaders with empathy. So don't be afraid, yeah, to ask. They won't bite.
Thank you to all three of our panelists for such a comprehensive answer. I think there's a few very interesting points that I think all our panelists just brought up, like how soft skills are now actually more important in the workplace because of how it actually helps you to adapt in different environment and different conditions, especially when we are facing pandemic right now. It will definitely be important for us to deal on all these sudden changes that we won't be able to even expect it to happen. And also, I think there are a few points that I brought up was regarding of being purposeful in work. I think even for me as a university student, I think I did some readings on how in intrinsic motivations is important in pushing a worker to become purposeful and self-driven to work better, except for just giving money, essentially. Yeah, I think there's some interesting questions in the participant Q&A as well coming up. There's this participant that brought up a question regarding what the topic that we were discussing just now, where she was asking how important is adaptability in navigating the pandemic? Essentially, how do you think it helped you in each of the firm in overcoming pandemic issues that that the panelists here have faced? If anyone would like to address this question.
I can go. I think all of us can add on here. I think we've covered bits and pieces of that in our earlier conversation. Adaptability, fairly aligned to flexibility, fairly aligned to agility. As a corporate, as as a organization, I think we have done that, not just because of the pandemic. We've always tried to adapt. Like EY, as being a knowledge and learning organization, we support our clients in their aspiration. So the aspirations over the decades and years and whatever, not centuries since the firm started, the business world that we support have evolved and changed. It was, for example, my era, it was ISO 9000. I'm not sure whether some of you remember that, right? But who talks about ISO 9000 these days? We talk about, I don't know, what do people talk about? Blockchain and AI, or talk about cyber, OT cyber and things like that, which did not exist then. But every decade or every generation of business needs, the firm has always risen to the occasion to make sure that we've got the knowledge and the skills and the competencies to support the transformation, whatever that may be. So that speaks a lot about how we operate, not just because of the COVID. COVID has actually taught us new lessons, but the firm the organization, as far as I can see from EY's perspective, has always evolved anyway. And as we evolved, we want to make sure that our people are able to come along as well. And that means providing the skills and knowledge, the upskilling that is required for them in order to provide the exceptional client service that they need to do for the business world that we support out there. So adaptability, in short, is important, but not just because of COVID. Yeah.
Thank you,
Jane,
Supan, for
Monzi?
such a valuable answer.
Sure, yeah. And I think similarly, COVID helped accelerate a lot of things, right? Digitization, and technology and all that. But we've always been going through transformation, right? In the last 8 years that I've been with KPMG, I can remember the way we did things when I first joined, and fast forward to today, the way I approve letters of offers, from manual paper to to doing it online now, and everything is paperless. So we've actually gone through a lot of transformation, and because of that, we also have to teach ourselves to learn new things, new skills, right? Like using Microsoft Power BI dashboards, to read analytics and big data, and to sort out all those big data that we have. So it's adaptability is something that you really need to embrace. Things never change, never stop changing, right? I mean, like they always say, right? The only constant is change. So I think it's best to have that, that growth mindset, right? To ensure that you are keeping up with the times, you are relevant, you continue to stay relevant. Otherwise, you definitely be left behind. Okay, thanks.
Thank you both, Supan and Monzi. Would Jean like to add on that?
I think we've always had to be adaptable, right? There's no two ways about it. Personally, for me, I'm very used to working at a fixed desk, right? As you can see, UOB is moving to a new office. It's in my backdrop, the white building. White building must point the correct way. Anyways, so because of that, we're moving to Plaza One. We're going to have free, what do you call that? Hot seating,
Hot
right?
desking.
Hot desking, right?
Yeah.
So you can't even get your own desk anymore. You're supposed to work from anywhere. You can go to the gym middle of the day, go do some yoga, and then come back and continue working. You can work at the cafe. Even small things like this, right, requires a lot of adaptability, especially for older people like me, right? Then I'll feel that I'm going to lose my desk. I can't put my plants. It's all an exercise in flexibility and adaptability. It's not just the really hard skills, but that one is a definite thing that we have to do. But in everyday life, even our leaders are being trained, for example, in how to detect emotional wellness in the staff. Can they detect or not? If the staff is just merely stressed or depressed, we train our leaders to do that. I mean, in what training have we ever learned that, in the last 30 years of our career? But now leaders are being trained to do that. How do you read the signs of depression? What do you do if the person is depressed? Are you supposed to go up to the person and say, hey, don't be so upset? Or are you supposed to, ask the person to seek counseling? So it's really asking of you to continuously be open to new ways of doing things, to new information, new data. If you close your mind, right, then I think it's just going to be very, very difficult to survive and thrive.
Thank you, all three panelists, for such an amazing answer. I think we just covered on like how adaptability actually helps employees in being more productive in their work. And then Monzi also brought up like how employees need to stay relevant in order to be competitive in the workforce itself. So the next question, I'll move on to, because having to work hybrid and having less physical contact between employees and their seniors as well, I'm sure that a lot of audience here today would be interested to know how the tools to measure employees' productivity levels have changed due to pandemics, and how are employees' performances evaluated if they have less human contact among managers and colleagues. Maybe I kindly direct this question to Ms. Green.
Okay. The question is, has the tools changed, is it, for measuring performance? Okay. I think the tools have not changed, but what we are measuring has changed. Maybe in the past, managers will measure someone's productivity by how often the person comes to work, is at the desk till 7 p.m., 8 p.m., but I don't think that is valid anymore. Today, people are measuring outcomes more than methods. The quality of work. In terms of goals, I don't think that has changed. But how you accomplish those goals, achieve those goals, is irrelevant. As long as the goals are met, then I think people don't measure that anymore. Whether how many hours you spend at your desk. I still remember in the early days when I started working, right? I was asked, how can you go home before your boss goes home? Can you imagine me asking any one of you this question? All of you will probably tender resignation tomorrow, because now it's all about, hey, boss, you don't have to care how long I spend doing the piece of work. As long as the quality is there, it meets your needs, then that's an objective match. So I don't think the tools have changed, but definitely we have started to look at other things. For leaders, for example, it's not just about how you manage work, how you manage people, but how are you leading them? How are you providing them a vision about where they need to go? And are you supporting them, not giving them that emotional support that they need to reach it? Are you coaching people? Those become very, very critical skills now. So it's not just some of the items that we are measuring has changed. People development becomes so much more important now. To be able to go sit on the beach someday, right, and not do your work means you have to empower your people to do it. The leader who wants to work while he's at the beach is not empowering his team to do it. So he's not growing the team. So I think that leader will probably be scored lower than the leader who is building a very, very strong team. Does that answer the question? Or maybe Monsi and Sufan can add on.
I can add on that. Chian. I think whether we work virtually or we work face to face, the measurement in EY, we call that the transformative leadership model. How we measure our people is on LEAD, right? SAP success factors. So whether you are doing it on your mobile phone, you evaluate people, have a conversation over the Zoom or over a cup of real coffee face to face, the framework is the same. We are looking at how you look after yourself. I spoke about all those things earlier, the agility, the curiosity, the well-being. We also look at how do you look after your teams? How do you inspire team? How do you team? How do you promote that sense of belonging? It's okay. I'm going to talk about the challenges later. I'll just focus on, whether things change, framework change or not, just because we don't work in the office. It does not, because you also look at how you serve clients and how do you serve the business. Are you progressive? Are you, do you have a commercial sense? And are you innovative in your solutioning and all? And of course, in EY, we also look at, how do you make an impact to the society that you work in and you live in? So if you look at all those things above, right, why would the place that you work make a difference in the way the tool should be used to evaluate oneself, or you do your self-assessment? Think about that, Chien, right? Before COVID came in, global organizations already work with remote teams. You can have teammates sitting in US, South Africa, Sydney, and you sit in KL. You don't work face to face. So, COVID just brought it closer to home with home teams, right, working remotely, but the concept and principles don't change, right? But what is real problems here, and I'm not going to sugarcoat this, there are real challenges. There are people who find this challenging to be, disciplined or to be productive on one end. You can wake up in your pajamas and continue to work through the day in pajamas. You don't switch on your camera. No one asks you to switch on. you may feel less productive than you otherwise should be. And then you got the senior or manager, right, who don't check in on you constantly. They don't know what you're doing, how you're doing it. Are you suffering? Are you not? Because the check-in is not timely or regularly enough, and your well-being is not looked after. So you've got people who can't cope working in a remote setting, and then you've got leaders, right, who don't know how to bring the team along in a remote setting, maybe because of busyness, maybe because of don't know how as well. And I'm sure very, Jean, that to know how to connect with each other and engage over, a virtual setting does not come naturally to all people. So those are the skill sets that we have learned a lot of lessons from. And not sugarcoating things, there are the downsides and there are people who fall behind. So so I think we are going to be better 2 years later. We know when to be in. For example, complex problem solving. For example, design thinking or innovation. For example, meaningful experiences with your clients. Do work that would be better off doing in person and celebrating successes, individual successes or team successes, right? Those, please be face to face. And things that you can do, analytically, analyzing things, you're doing reporting, you're doing your writing up and all that, right? Those you can do from home. Status update, you can do from home. So we are now a bit more in terms of the shape and size, right? I think Monsi and Jean will agree. We are now better in the way we define our bricks, with the bytes supporting and knowing what behaviors that might come along to support the bricks and the bytes. I think we are going to be better off from now on. Yeah.
Yep, definitely. Totally agree. And I think when you talk about tools and performance management, yes, it's the tools haven't changed, but it's in the way we measure our people. And what's really important is to have very clear goal setting. Make sure that your KPIs are clear, they're outcome driven. But other than that, we also look at our people's behaviors, right? How do they develop and motivate others? How do they build collaborative relationships? Whether they themselves take opportunities to learn and adapt. Do they foster innovation, advocate for equality? So all those things are also quite behavioral related, and that's also an important factor to be measured. Thanks, Jian.
Thank you. I think we learned a lot on how different companies actually evaluate their employees. I think after all talking about, we talked about so much about how what qualities employees need to have in order to succeed in the industry. Maybe now we should change another topic. I'm sure that a lot of our audience here today are actually looking for internship opportunities, and I'm sure some of our audience will be interested in knowing more about how intern acceptance rate has changed during the pandemic. May I kindly direct this question to Ms. Lee? Ms. Stufan, sorry.
Can. I can start and everybody can add on. The people that we need, the numbers don't change that much, but what we observe, particularly, I think now slightly better. Last year was not very good. Why? Because borders were closed. And when borders were closed, right, for example, people from Australia, the students we wanted to offer and they wanted to do it, but they can't, well, not to say they can't leave. They could, but there is a risk that people cannot go back to continue their studies. And so because of that, we did see a drop in offers for Australian and the UK internship placements. But those were supplemented by our IPTAs and IPTS in Malaysia, where traveling, there are less restrictions on borders, border control, so to speak. So yeah, but the opportunities are there. It's just that there are real practical restrictions that prohibited us from having more of our Malaysian students studying overseas, right, to take up internship locally. And of course, I think you're going to ask that, why can't they do it in London? Why can't they do it in Melbourne, right? It's not that simple and straightforward because your clients are here. And if you want to learn and get your hands dirty, you don't want to make with your intact teams. You want to learn by being on client side. It's not easy, for someone with no work experience, right, to be able to work in a meaningful and productive manner. Yeah.
Okay, and as for KPMG, we continue to onboard many interns every year. In fact, more than 400 a year. And our internship program, it is more steadfast as ever, because we make sure that the experience that our interns get from the moment they're onboarded until the moment that they leave us, we try to ensure that the whole process is seamless and that they get every learning experience is as memorable as they can have. And recently we started allowing onboarding physically at the office. So obviously we observe all strict SOPs, because we feel that the face-to-face internship onboarding experience is great first day experience for the interns, right? Letting them know how to do things at the office, and obviously also seeing how the office looks like, because they've never been there, right? And not only that, actually, that kind of physical camaraderie and building that cohort, right? It allows them to build relationships. And I think that in an internship experience, right, that's the most important element. Right? You need to know and grow your network and your relationship with others. Yeah? It's a key skill you need to develop, because it will help you as you progress along your career. Who knows, right? One of them could be a future CFO or CEO, and you build that relationship from the moment you were back then as an intern. And the other types of experiences that we have for interns is actually digitalization, where there's an online gamification when they join us. It helps them learn about the firm. It helps also test their knowledge. It's actually a fun and interactive manner that we have using this digitalization, the gamification. And we also encourage all our interns to join all our activities. Yeah, no matter what level they are, they can join the Wellbeing 360 program, the coffee sessions with our partners. The Better Latte Than Never, we call it, is an informal and casual networking session to hear about where the firm is heading, our vision and goals for the year, and also to talk about important topics like ESG, sports, and many other topics. So with that, we do try to inculcate and give the interns a very good experience the moment they join us. Back to you, Jian.
Just to answer, would Jean like to add on as well?
No, as in we have not slowed down our interns intake. In fact, if anything, we would love to hire even more. And we are also providing interns fast pass into our management associates program. So if they do well, this is one way for them to avoid having to go through a simulated assessment center. And if they do well and the leaders can vouch for their performance, that's a great way for them to fast pass into the management associates program. And that is something we are actively seeking for every year. So no slowdown in interns intake. Do come and see us at our booth. Must use my 2 seconds of marketing promotion.
Thank you for amazing answers from all three panelists. I think due to short time, maybe we'll take one last question from the participants. After talking about internships and all that, I'm pretty sure a lot of our audience here today are actually fresh graduates or maybe university students that will be stepping into corporate world one day. Maybe just some short advice on, there's this participant that asked a piece of advice you'd like to give to young talents trying to improve employability in this period of time where pandemic is over, but not exactly yet. There'll be some short advice from each and one of you, because according to your experiences being in the industry.
Okay, I'll start. So my piece of advice to them is, don't give up. I mean, I said it just now, right? Just because you encounter challenges, or you got scolded by your senior or manager, don't. I mean, okay, go and get your emotions out of the way, okay? Let it out and all that, but don't give up, right? sometimes I feel it's such a shame, to see some of these brilliant talents leave our firm just because of a particular incident that really made them very unhappy. It may not be representative of how your career in the firm will be thereafter, right? It may be just a one-off incident, but try not to give up so easily. I think build that resilience in you, and just forge on and keep trying. Yeah. um, in life there will be many many more challenges you need to face, so I know there's a lot of opportunities out there for all of you. I mean, compared to my days, right, when I first graduated, there weren't as many opportunities. But if you have already set yourself up, to become an accountant or auditor, or maybe a consultant, please just focus. Yeah, don't give up and continue focusing. And I do wish you all the very best. Thank you.
So I'll go. I would just say two things. One is, I mentioned it earlier, everybody, be purposeful. You know your purpose. Purpose is different from goals, yeah. Purpose is bigger, it's your North Star. It drives you. So if you're purposeful, purpose is basically what is the impact that you want to make and how you're going to make it. Challenge yourself to write it in 6 words. If you can write your impact in 3, 4 words and how you're going to do it, right, you've got something going for yourself. So if you know your purpose, then of course your roadmap will be whatever that's going to be in your roadmap, right? You will do it, because that helps you to achieve your purpose, which includes the professional side. Personal side, I think you would know how to manage, right? If you're going to be a digital, I guess, star, you will do all the programs that you need to do to get there. And how are you going to achieve the career that you want? You're going to go to a place where you're going to get your hands dirty. So that's what I'm saying, right? It doesn't matter what it is. If you are purposeful, you've got your North Star guiding you, you will do what it needs to be done, no matter how difficult that is. My second advice would be, aligned to that first point, is that I hope I'm not giving you unsolicited advice. Yeah, my children always tell me, if it's unsolicited, please don't give me. So just take it as from my perspective and put it aside if it doesn't apply to you. The second one is that if you want something that you've never had, you've got to do something you've never done. No matter how difficult it is, right? Because you want it, you're not going to get it just like that on a silver platter. So if it's going to be tough, it's because it's a good thing. You don't want it anyway if it's easy, right? So only two things, I think, that are both aligned. Yeah. Over to you, Jin.
I would say to always have a growth mindset, be humble enough to learn, and know that sometimes unsolicited advice is only given because people care about you. I think a lot of young people, when they get feedback from their managers, or they will take it as I've been scolded. But actually, sometimes it's the old-fashioned way of giving unsolicited advice. It's not scolding you, but it's just an advice. Just listen with an open mind. And if you don't think that that feedback is valid, then just forget it. But if it's valid, then work on it and improve. That's the only way to learn and grow. The moment people don't care about you, that's when there's no more advice, solicited or otherwise. So I think long ago when I started my career, someone told me before that as a young person, you need to attract people to teach you, because everybody has limited time. So, and attention. Why would they want to grow you? What's so special about you? So if you can show someone that you are eager to learn and that you're open-minded and that you're not going to shrivel up and die the moment they give you advice, that's when I feel that, hey, I want to help this guy. I want to help him go to the next stage of his career. So as young people, you need to attract that. You need to attract mentors, sponsors, coaches who will want to give of their time to help you out. Yeah. Back to you, Jian.
Thank you, Jin and Super, and also Nancy, for all this valuable and precious advice. I don't think any of our audience can get it anywhere other than here. Sadly, we're running short of our time. Thank you, Sufen, Monzi, Jin, for being here today. I'm pretty sure that the participants have benefited a lot from knowing more about how the workplace have evolved in the actual corporate world and how beyond the pandemic, the audience can prepare themselves for the corporate world. And as for me myself, I'm very, very honored to be able to moderate this session today. Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you for tuning in. See everyone. See you soon in the future.
Thank you.
And you'll be in the books. Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Be fair, please visit all of their booths. EY,
Good night.
UOB, and also KPMG.
Yeah.
Good night, guys.
Have a good weekend.